taking action for you. This morning on TV 20 Detroit starts right now.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
The PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore show always likes to take you to places and situations that you would not be taken to if it was not for this show. Now we're standing in Highland Park, which is a city within the city of Detroit, in front of Jackie Wilson Lane. There's an untold story that you're going to probably hear first concerning this icon, Jackie Wilson. Now, nothing was hotter nor more happening than being at the unveiling of the Jackie Wilson Lane Street here in Highland Park. Jackie Wilson, known as Mr. Excitement, is probably smiling from heaven above as we're standing in front of Jackie Wilson Lane in Highland Park, which is a city within the city of Detroit. And we're going to take you to a place that really exemplifies his signature song, Higher and Higher, for more reasons than one. When I think about it, yeah, there's nothing that's really been done on Jackie Wilson. So it kind of feels like something was done on him, but not really.
No.
Nothing was really done on him.
He might have been in a few little movies.
Nothing was really done on Aretha until she died. Think about it. As great as she was, there was nothing done on her until she died.
See there? That's what I'm saying.
After all those years.
And then there was nothing ever done on him. You got all Ray Charles.
Keep on my mind.
You got James Brown. You got Michael Jackson. You got all these other people, famous, iconic people that have films on there or documentaries or something like that. There was a documentary done on Jackie, but it was nothing done in historical like it is today.
So what was history making? This project is history making for several reasons, but one of the most prominent reasons that it is history making, let us know.
It's history making because there's never been anything like this film, anything done on Jackie Wilson before. And then it's also history making because we have a lot of young people that are going to be debuting and they're playing something out of their era. They're going back to 1949, 50s, and they were just born. They're only like 16, 17 years old. And so this is an education for generations to come.
From the baby.
Oh.
I got this.
Salute.
And that's why we have so many young people playing in it. And that's why you've seen so many young people there at the premiere, because friends and families wanted to see them act on the film.
Dre, now, I'm excited to talk to you because you've got the it factor, and when you put an H in front of that, it becomes the hit factor. And starring as this icon, how did you channel the legendary Jackie Wilson?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm already a singer and performer, and that's what I do for a living. I think part of that, being a classic man, being from Detroit and having a lot of the same similarities coming out of the church and stuff like that, I think it was just a good fit. It was like fit like a glove for me to play Jackie Wilson. I definitely had to do a lot of studying and see his mannerisms and try to pick up a little bit more on him. But I do a lot of the same stuff already too. I'm pretty dancing. I dance a lot on stage, so yeah, do a lot of high notes. So.
This is a very spiritual piece of me to watch you, and I'm going to just be as presumptuous as I can be. And I would like to believe that Jackie Wilson spoke to you, and in him speaking to you spiritually, what did he tell you?
I feel like for me it was more so like, do what you do best. You know what I'm saying? be the performer that you are. The rest will come. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do what you do, and then, you know, pretty much, you know, study and like figure out what you're missing, but do what you do best. Start there. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what I did.
It was really old school. It was hitting a lot of points to it. I love all the classic cars that was in there.
I kind of lived that. I met Jackie Wilson twice at the Greystone Ballroom back in 1962.
I saw Michael Jackson in you, which was really spiritual because Michael was influenced by Jackie Wilson. Did you feel a little bit of Michael, or did you feel something spiritual?
I mean, Michael Jackson is the reason that I sing today. You know, he's one of my biggest inspirations.
Some people are great entertainers, some people are followers, and some people make the path and are pioneers. I like to say Jackie Wilson was a wonderful entertainer.
I mean, Michael Jackson is the reason that I sing today. You know, he's one of my biggest inspirations. And so I feel like with that being said, you know, me playing Jackie Wilson today is not too different because Michael Jackson, like you said, was very highly influenced by Jackie Wilson as well. So yeah, I do feel like it was greatness on the screen that was displayed. I feel like I was doing me, you know.
Now, what is something that you hope the audience will take away from watching this miniseries and you distinctively knowing now more about Jackie Wilson than a lot of people? Something that they should take with them as a message?
Well, before this series actually happened, I didn't know, I knew of Jackie Wilson, but I didn't know his story. And when I got called to play Jackie Wilson, it was truly an honor and a pleasure to play such an iconic person after knowing his story and knowing his history. So I feel like I just want people to take away the fact that he is the reason why the music industry is taking off the way that it is today. You know, he is truly a pioneer in the music industry, and I strive to be like him one day.
I am done! You are not gonna hurt me and that boy no more!
Get your hands off me!
Cinda Williams, Eliza, Jackie's mother.
It was so great to see you in this. So something that you would like the audience to take from concerning the late, great Jackie Wilson?
Well, I just think it's important that we celebrate our heroes in all of who they were, not just the parts that we love, but the parts that we don't know, and flaws, because when we see someone that is human, then we know that even though we're human, we can do something great with our lives. So I think it's very important to share these stories.
Now, something that I want you to share with this audience, you know, you have so many fans because of what you did in Spike Lee's film. So let us know something that is upcoming in your impressive career.
Thank you. Most of my work right now is behind the scenes. I'm writing screenplays. I'm on the production side. So I'm working on a multitude of things, and people can find me on social media to find out about specifics. Yeah.
I want to thank you for blessing Higher and Higher with your star presence.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's going to be starting at 6. They're going to start at 6, then they're going to start at 7.
My aunt. Okay.
You good? You get your ticket?
Brenda, when you come from DNA of an icon, what else is on that resume that is of Brenda Wilson?
Well, one, I'm an author. I wrote the book, The Life of Jackie Wilson, The Legacy Continues. I'm the CEO of the Jackie Wilson Foundation. I'm also a member of the Tuskegee Airmen, and I'm also a singer. I can sing too.
And you left something else off the list because you don't think I do my research. And I'm going to ask for a high five after I say it. And she has a distinction of being an ice cream maker.
Oh, you got it. I make homemade ice cream.
And you sell it also.
I've been selling it for 10 years. I make 8 flavors.
And the name of it?
It's Ooh Wee Homemade.
Wow.
And once again, I got 3 Emmys.
Yes.
Yeah, and a Grammy.
And a Grammy. When it's turned into a movie, you're going to have the Academy Award. And when you turn it into a Broadway show, which is going to make you an EGOT.
Oh, EGOT. I got them all.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. Yes.
And one other thing, we're talking about doing stage play with this as well.
You should. It should be a Broadway musical. It should be a Broadway musical. And guess what? Sconey is going to be the star of it, and he's going to be the male version of what Barbra Streisand was for Funny Girl. I believe it. I believe that guy, he's got that.
He got that.
Whatever it is, he's got it, and I wish I had it.
Yeah, he's got the it factor.
Well, I said, I wish I had it. You're supposed to say, Greg, you have it too.
Oh, okay, Greg, you got the it factor.
Another kiss. Thank you.
Pulse Beat.
200 groups are working together. And you're talking about groups that reflect people who the news is reporting they're just only fighting. We have a common bond because that's what we're doing. What we're doing to spotlight the wonderfulness of people working together. And as Brenda Naomi Rosenberg said, we must celebrate our differences.
Yeah, if you look around the world, the largest and the fastest growing organization in the world is the network of NGOs working on peace and healing. If you go to anywhere in the world and you begin looking for various we're always on the learning curve ourselves, finding out. But it's very large and it's very quickly growing, but it's been under the radar of the media that normally tells people what's happening in the world.
The Fellowship for Civil Discourse out of Wayne State University with the Detroit Center for Civil Discourse, which was the brainchild of Rabbi Asher Lopatin and Professor Saeed Khan of Wayne State University. It began with 20 students, mostly half of them being Jewish and half Muslim. And we did that for 2 years. We ended with 17 students completing 2 years of civil discourse. And it was just a really great accomplishment.
Hi guys, this is one of my favorite books, The Power of Dialogue Between the Israelis and Palestinians from Neve Shalom Wa'at Salam. It's such an amazing story, and so few people know how this village, how they've been working together and doing business together and agriculture together all these years, and then how they talk to each other. It's really an important book.
But the question of Palestine remains. Israel still controls the West Bank. They often build settlements and eat into Palestinian land. Over in Gaza, it's a full blockade, and right now a full-blown war. So where do both sides stand right now? Palestine wants statehood based on pre-1967 borders, meaning the whole of West Bank, Gaza and East Jerusalem. Israel says it's not possible. They have built dozens of settlements inside West Bank, so Israel says the demography has changed. Plus the country is always expanding. Any Jew anywhere in the world can become an Israeli citizen. It's called the Jewish law of return. So resolution looks far away. I know we call this a regional conflict, a West Asian conflict, but it's also an exported one. Europe discriminated against Jews. The Ottomans and Palestinians never did. Europe drove them out, and Europe asked them to stay in Palestine. But when the plan looked tough, they bolted. Classic colonial attitude. It's amply clear that there is no military solution to this problem. The question of Palestine cannot be answered with weapons. It requires politics. The only hope is that moderates on both sides can chart a course. And remember, statehood is not the end. It's just the beginning. Because after that comes neighborhood, the challenge of building friendship between the two states.
At the time of October 7th and in the days and weeks afterwards, I had many people, friends and colleagues who I've worked with over the years, and people who just know me through the fact that they know Common Bond Institute, contacting me, expressing their great distress and fear and anger at what was happening, and also asking, is there something that we can do? Is there something that someone is doing to simply stop the death and violence? And what struck me was that most of those folks, and I think most of the public in general, have little or no awareness of the number of peace-building organizations that do exist, that are Israeli and Palestinian, in the neighborhood of 200 or so that exist. And of those, dozens of them are direct partnerships between Palestinians and Israelis. And so what I decided was one thing that our organization could do to sort of respond to that need was to share the information, to let people know that there is rather than two sides in conflict all the time, there's a third side that's working, that isn't about conflict.
200, why? don't we know more?
I think it's a narrative that conflicts with a lot of the other agendas, you know, to be honest, that are not having to do with people at the grassroots level. I think at the grassroots level, in all communities involved in conflict, that's really where the hope is, because people have much more in common, not wanting conflict, not wanting threat, wanting to live in peace, wanting all the kinds of things that everyone wants when they grow up, when they get up in the morning for themselves and their family. But at other levels, at higher levels, there are many mixed and convoluted kinds of agendas that are going on. So one of the things that we felt we could do, because we had a public stance that we could work out of, was to simply draw attention to these. And we did, rather than doing one organization at a time, we wanted to do at least a few or several at a time, not only to learn about each individual organization, and they're very diverse in terms of how they approach peace right now, but we wanted to show the commonality also. We wanted to show the thread between all these organizations to realize that this is a true network. It's not just isolated organizations trying what they can and sort of in the wilderness. They're all connected, and many of them collaborate. Many of them have been around for decades. I mean, one example is there's a village in Israel. It's called Neve Shalom al Salam.
If you listen to them, it's not always obvious which child is Palestinian, which one is Jewish. And that's the whole point. Everyone here has to learn both Hebrew and Arabic. Welcome to the village of Neve Shalom, or as the other half calls it, Wahat el-Salam. It means oasis of peace.
And it's existed for over 40 years. And it is a perfect example of living in coexisting on all levels between, in this case, Israeli Palestinians and Israeli Jews. Very few people know about the organization. It's been around for, as I said, more than 4 decades.
On the edge of the village, there's coexistence, even in death. From the cemetery, you can see the second generation of homes that were built. The waiting list to join the village is a long one on both sides.
PulseBeat. What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PulseBeatGlobal.com. That's PulseBeatGlobal.com. You can also go to our PulseBeat TV YouTube channel and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember PulseBeatGlobal.com or the YouTube channel PulseBeat TV. Thanks for telling the world about us.
PulseBeat.
Now, you've got a book that I know that has your imprint on it, and Tectonic Leadership, and we're talking about some steps that are very important steps. So I know there are many layers to this, but let us know some of the key layers that you have.
Well, what's most important in Tectonic Leadership is that we ask people to make a commitment. Before you even come into the room, you have to sign a document that you are willing to create something new together that has not been done before, that's going to help more than 2 different groups of people.
Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Shindu, I mean, all the great religions, and there's some other religions too that I'm leaving out, but to come from a religious place that certainly has a set of rules and stories and tradition and all of this, and we're talking about really one God, but yet we're talking about all of this disconnection. We're in really very trying times. And as a psychologist, how do you recondition the mind, especially because we're dealing with adults? Can you teach old dogs new tricks?
I believe that hate is created, it is socialized. I think there's a lot of good evidence that human beings are not inclined to isolate or hate. And so that is why so much propaganda, so much labor really has to go into creating hate in society. Sometimes we look for easy solutions to injuries like a Band-Aid. And what I have really learned so much recently, especially from Brenda, is that healing requires a wholeness. It requires us to feel not just that the injury itself is being remedied, but that we come to healing whole. And that is as much about the conversation between people as it is about your own personal conversation, embrace, really being able to hold yourself as a whole person.
The Talk It Out process is a multi-step process. The first thing we ask students to do is to breathe. Because often when something is going on that you're upset about, we're not in a good frame of mind to begin to discuss it with someone. So the first thing we do is calm and center our own selves by taking a breath. And then we, in the SUSO program, we talk a lot about different kinds of feelings. What are different names for different kinds of feelings? And of course, this is different at first grade than it is at 8th grade. But we also always start with I statements. I feel frustrated, disappointed, and sad. Or I feel surprised and left out. So the students really have to think about not just I feel mad or I feel sad. How do you really, really feel about whatever it is? And then the next part, step 2, is when you, and the student then describes what has occurred or what do they perceive has occurred that has caused them anguish or upset. Now, the other person with whom they are talking it out just sits and listens. That's their role. And we teach this to the students, that when someone is talking it out with you, you are not defending, you are just listening to learn what the experience of your friend has been. So I feel frustrated, disappointed, and surprised when you take my pencil without asking. I wish next time you would. And this is a very powerful piece because it moves us beyond blaming or attacking or I'm just mad. It moves us into that creative new space, not compromise, but a creative new space. I wish next time you would ask me before you take my pencil, for instance. And then I ask you, does that sound fair? And 99% of the time, the other person will say, yes, that sounds fair. And I say, thank you. You say, you're welcome, and we shake hands. Now, maybe you didn't take my pencil. Maybe my pencil fell on the floor and it was rolling away. You didn't even know it was my pencil. So maybe now you want to talk it out with me and say, and we also start with, is now a good time to talk? So, is now a good time to talk? You might say to me, sure. I feel disappointed and hurt when you accuse me of taking your pencil. I wish next time you would presume positive intent and know that we're friends and I wouldn't do that without asking. Does that sound fair? Yes, it does. I'm sorry about that. And so it provides students with a structure, a script that they can utilize when they are in situations of conflict to advocate for themselves, to communicate what they're experiencing and communicate it in a calm way so that the other does not become defensive. And then we teach the students how to be able to listen without becoming defensive and respond to the particular request that their friend is asking.
The tectonic process is very simple, but not everyone wants to do it. People have been trained to argue, debate, contradict, and unfortunately close their ears to hearing the other. In tectonic leadership, the first thing we talk about is the tension. Now most people, when you say tension, even the word tension causes but we ask people to describe the tension. So right from get-go, after you say hello, you talk about your feelings. How have you been hurt by the current conflict? How has it impacted your life? and you really describe and discuss and really talk about the tension that you're feeling. Most people never have that opportunity. We give you the opportunity to talk about your hurt, your pain, and how you're feeling. And then you work out that plan together. So not only do you put a plan together, you really talk about any problems and all the problems you could foresee, and then you put a timeline together. So just like a time and action calendar, this is where my being a past executive at a big company comes in. Because if I didn't have a timeline, if I didn't have to make a commitment that it had to be done by next Monday, it wouldn't have gotten done.
And even though you said that this is not from the Tectonic leadership method, is not necessarily for everybody, but when you introduced us to the song, There Must Be Another Way, after listening to you explain what Tectonic leadership can do, I can't think of a better way.
Thank you, Greg. It works. And so we would like to have it part of education. We have a program in the fall with Cranbrook. We are doing it at the University of Michigan. We're getting it out there.
PulseBeat.